Hey everyone, welcome to Limitless Radiocast, episode 33. Stick with us today as we hang out with a highly competitive blue belt. He's a great guy too, so stick around and listen in. Okay, and we're also proud to announce that we have a new sponsor, True Tattoo Supply Company. At checkout, put in Limitless to get a 10% discount on all your tattoo supplies. They have cutting edge stuff, the best of the best. Anything you need for tattooing, they got you covered. Check them out, TrueTattooSupply.com. That's again, TrueTattooSupply.com. Stay true. And remember to go out and check out RollAmongUs.com for all your fight gear needs. Fight shorts, rash guards, gis, t-shirts. RollAmongUs.com. At checkout, put in Limitless20. And also go out and check out BattleBomb.com. They have CBD and non-CBD infused rub for all those aches and pains that you might get during any kind of training, everyday work, everyday life. Remember, at checkout, Limitless20 for a 20% discount, BattleBomb.com. And we are proud to bring this show to you by Magic City Brewing Company, located in Akron, Ohio. Go out, check them out. Great place ran by great people. Also, check out M&H Beans for all your coffee needs. Get a subscription. They'll ship all over the world. They have amazing coffee, some of the best coffee in the world. On this show, we drink it all the time. It's drank in my household. We drink it multiple times. Dad speakers, highly recommend. Go out there, check out M&H Beans. Without further ado, thanks for joining us and enjoy the show. Hey, everybody. Welcome to the show. Today, we're hanging out with Jonathan Hart. He's from Triangle Academy in Franklin, Tennessee. He is part of Pettigrew Submission Fighting Team. He's a BJJ black belt. I do this all the time. He's a BJJ blue belt. He will be a BJJ black belt in the future at some point. We're correct, Jonathan. Thanks for being with us, man. I screwed that up a lot.
Yeah,
so
man, that would be nice if I had the black belt already to face black belts.
You get there, brother. You train all the time, man.
Yeah, I think it's really cool. The higher the level you get to, actually, I feel like the less nerves I'll have about competing, because I like it when you know that the guy's good and everybody knows that the guy's good. And then,
Sure.
I don't know, it feels like a lot less pressure. I feel like the matches that I'm actually like terrified for are usually like, they're like, this guy sucks, you're gonna nail him. I'm like, fuck me. Everyone says he sucks.
Don't say that. Don't tell me that.
Yeah.
How's your neck feeling, man? I know it pans when you go ahead.
Oh, it's fine. My neck's been good. It was my ribs that were fucked up.
Oh, your ribs were
okay.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, and I actually just rolled hard for the first time today. Like it's 24 days ago,
Okay.
and yeah, and today was my first day back, which was fucking marvelous, man. Oh my god, it felt good. Like you know how when you train real hard, you got that weird kind of afterglow after, where like someone could yell at you in traffic and you don't give a shit.
Right.
Yep.
Yeah. You get that euphoria, man.
I was riding that for like the past 2 hours. It was wonderful.
That's awesome, man. You guys always get about a 2-hour training in on Sundays, typically.
Yeah. Sunday is like open mat. And
Yeah, right.
when Andrew was down, he's like, you guys need to fucking change that because it's crazy. I remember the first day I showed up to open mat, I stroll in, I'm like barely awake. I'm kind of like, and I'm like 10 minutes late, figuring it was going to be what most open mats are like, where you dick around, you get to show each other some
right.
stuff. And there is an important, that's an important thing too, for the record. Don't get twisted, just sharing ideas and stuff. I love it. But then I look over and everyone's lined up on the wall, and they're all looking at me like, what the fuck? And it's because they were just about to start like 20 minutes of just wrestling, just straight Shark Tank wrestling.
Nice.
Yeah, and I was like, what the fuck? And it's 2 hours of that type of shit. So it's pretty intense.
That's a good
workout. You eat how you want on Sundays.
Yeah. I was going to say, yeah. Chad, before you came in, he had some good old Panda Express today. And I was like, yeah, you guys can eat that stuff, man. Nice. Because when you train that hard, we got a guy at the gym. Well, go ahead.
Most of the days, but Sunday and Wednesday are the 2 days I let myself eat anything that's clearly bullshit. So got to get Panda on those days.
Yeah. But you guys put so much time in and so much work in. I tell people all the time, like Chad and I have talked about this before, like somebody's like, oh yeah, I'm going to eat all this and eat all this. I'm like, how much are you training? How much are you working out? Like, what are you doing? Are you just sitting around eating like crazy and not training hard? Or you know what I mean? Like we have one of our black belts that does a ridiculous amount of workout all the time. How much did Pete eat when he went to A golly boy. What restaurant?
Oh yeah, he'll go to Swenson's.
So we have you guys have a Swenson's there?
I don't know. That might be an Ohio thing. I don't know.
Might be.
No, but I think I know about Swenson's because I'm a huge fan of George Motes, the burger scholar.
Oh.
He recreated a Swenson's burger recently.
Yeah.
They do brown sugar in the smashed beef patties, right?
Yeah,
that's what his guess is anyway.
Yeah, that's funny.
Yeah, he'll go there after training and get like a galley boy, which is like their I don't know if it's a double or whatever it is, and 2 triples on top of that.
Ooh,
and he's 170 pounds, but he's in shape.
Yeah, I was gonna say you wouldn't look at him and think he was a 170.
No, he's about but he does crazy workouts. Yeah, he's working hard,
constantly.
Hard.
Yeah, he does like close to 1,000 push-ups a day.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
I actually just started like strength training on this past Wednesday.
Nice.
And I'm like 2 days into it, but I got a guy that I have a lot of faith in. So I'm actually pretty excited to start doing some actual workouts because I pretty much do nothing but just sprints and jiu-jitsu myself.
Nice.
And that's about it. But
that keeps that tank going though, right? Just constantly like.
Dude, for sure. I mean, look, anyone who wants to like do conditioning to where they're like, hey, you're going to have better cardio for jiu-jitsu. I kind of raise an eyebrow because to my mind, the way that you train to have great cardio for jiu-jitsu is you go hard as fuck in the training room doing jiu-jitsu or wrestling or something like that. And that'll give you that cardio. And I don't think anything else really helps except for just full out sprints. And I think that helps a little bit. I'm actually mostly just thinking about lifting just to get a lot less injury prone. I get hurt a fuckload. I'm like, I weigh like 150 pounds and I actually feel like I'm really strong for 150 pounds. Sure. The way a buddy of mine described it the other way, he's like, John, shout out, check the truck. He's like, John, I think you just grabbed so hard and you got such kind of like retard strength kind of going on, but you're such a tiny little fella. And you just got too much torque for your own self to handle. So I'm trying to, build up the joints and like, basically get a little less injury prone. So
that's
excited for that.
We had, last year at our, we do a big cancer seminar every year at our gym. Actually, we're getting ready to do that pretty soon. And, Andrew Wiltsey and his brother Bird came up and, did that. And it was hilarious. I rolled with Andrew and he was like, man, you got old man strength. I was like, yeah,
that's a big compliment, man.
Well, that's what I said.
He never gives whole compliments, though.
Yeah, right. Like
he always gives like backhanded, half-assed compliments. Right. Like I remember one time he said, like, Jonathan, you have a good overhook. That's like the only thing that you do that's good.
Right. Well, I had him like a hold of him, and I knew, I mean, come on, like I'm a white belt. So, and it was like, he took my back in, a minute, whatever. But it was funny because I had him and I was able to control like certain things, but I was just using my strength to keep him off of certain things. And he was like, man, you got good old man strength. And I was like, yeah.
Are you pretty big too?
I'm not like jacked, but I do a lot of push-ups and a lot of stuff. I've done it for a lot of
I just hear Ohio, I think big people.
I'm 6'1", 220.
That's big.
I mean,
that's big.
Because
5'8", 150. You're big.
Yeah, you're big. I'm 6'1", 150. So
okay. Now you got one of them lanky John Thomas builds.
Yeah.
You're that guy that shows up in the back with the gi on. You're like, what the fuck? I hope he's skinny under there.
Chad's got those wiry legs too, man. Always getting those legs in every time, stepping in and
triangles.
Yeah, triangles.
I love them triangles. I bet. Yeah.
Triangles, omoplatas.
Yeah. There was some good stuff yesterday. What'd you say, Jonathan? Go ahead.
I said you a big collar sleeve guy, Chad?
Yes, collar sleeve all day.
Yeah. Yeah, that makes sense for your build for sure.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's interesting. That's the first time anyone's ever pointed that out or asked that. I've never heard that before either. Like hear it like body weight. Have you studied that before? Like just body style? Like go from a body style and see what a guy is like, Jonathan?
I don't know that I've studied it too much, but I mean, like when you're studying footage for yourself, you're like, well, what are my attributes? And so I try to find people who are, so for example, I have like a pretty normal proportion body other than I have a kind of wide torso.
Okay.
I'm not particularly lanky. I'm kind of dense and I have more like isostatic strength than like explosive strength. So I try to watch guys like that. And if I have a student and, he's like a bowling ball of a man in a barrel, I'm like, okay, well, you need to watch guys like that, because, jiu-jitsu is beautiful because there's the objective, but you can get there 1,000 different ways. And
sure,
if you're not picking the way that's right for you, it's not like there's a right way. It's what's the right way for your body type and whatever kind of martial artist you are. So like, I don't favor pressure passing even often, like when I'm in the binary of like, pretty much every match is binary. So like there's going to be the slower, smaller guy or the faster guy or whatever. So even when I have a guy who's quicker than me and small, I don't like the pressure passing as much because I'm just kind of a wussy, Whereas like I have a buddy who like, dude, he'll eat a crossface. Again, shout out to Chuck the Truck. He'll eat a crossface for breakfast. He loves it. He's like, give me more, and it's just like that. That's not just a body type thing. That's an attitude thing. And like, let's say that like you get a cross sleeve grip and a pant grip, right? And you're in cross quarter, you go underhook or whatever. It's like you have like, I don't know, 9 valid options from there that I could think of. They're all right. It's like, which one is best for your body type and your personality and stuff. So yeah, I feel like that's something I pay attention to a lot because, I don't want to tell my students do this because I do this when it's like that's not right for who they are. You got to do what's right for who you are.
Yeah, that's awesome. That's very cool. It was just awesome when you pointed out to Chad and you asked him, like, sleeping collar guy. And I'm like, wait a minute.
How's he know that?
Well, also,
right. How's he know that?
Omoplata and triangle. Also, he just mentioned omoplata and triangle.
Sure.
Those are like the 2 major attacks off the collar sleeve. But it makes sense if you're a long guy,
use it.
And you
use it. Right.
Yeah.
Like I just turned 46 years old on Wednesday. And I'm still waiting on my old man strength to come in. So it's not here yet. I think I traded it for flexibility, which I'll take that.
Dude, well, I'll tell you which is going to probably keep you on the mats longer, I would imagine.
Oh, for sure. Yeah. I'm 44 and that's what I say. I'm like, I need to lose some fat and I need to get more flexible, or by the time I'm 60, I'm going to be like walking sideways because some days I do now.
I'm 29 and everything on me is fucked up. And I'm just like, dude, I need to get on some shit now and start taking shit seriously. So I'm trying to like start looking at more like mobility stuff. Kelly Starrett and the Bulletproof for BJJ guys. Those guys like put out great shit. I'm thinking of buying their program. And I'm just trying to start taking care of myself more seriously as like, I guess as an athlete. And it's weird for me to say that because I'm just like a book nerd, but this is what I do now. And it's like, fuck, I guess I have to start thinking of myself that way. So.
Is that why you moved from South Carolina? Yeah.
Yeah.
Did you say, hey, I'm done. Like, I want to do this like full time?
100%, man.
Yeah. And
I was originally expecting to, I like had saved some money and went to Sweden to train with John Thomas.
Oh, wow.
And I would spend a winter there, and those guys were just absolutely wonderful to me. I feel like those guys are like my family across the ocean type of thing. Sure. It was an awesome experience. And I was going to try to stay there. And then, it turns out getting a visa, not easy for an American, at least not for me. And, I could have married somebody. I'd still have to go home. So I went home and I was planning on coming back, and then COVID hit. I could not get back, or I could have maybe gotten back and also definitely gotten stuck there. And I wasn't sure that being stuck there illegally was a strong move. And anyway, I ended up back in the States, and I met Clay at a tournament, and I was like, hey, are you Chad Mayfield? And he was like, I'm Clay Mayfield. And I was like, you're the guy that Flying Triangles guys though, right? Like I'd seen a highlight of him. I think Flow Grappling had reposted it. He said otherwise, but one of the like major
like platforms, accounts, like
had like reposted him like doing all these flying triangles. And I was like, dude, that's sick. Here's this fucker in the middle of nowhere, and Daisy Fresh hadn't come out yet, so I didn't know a shit about pedigo submission fighting. Like if you're in the Midwest, everyone knows them.
Yeah, right.
But if you weren't Midwest, you didn't know who they were, So I didn't realize what a strong team it was originally, but I just knew. I was like, dude, that guy's doing it by himself. And I kind of tend to think when you find a guy who's not at like Atos HQ or Unity or something like that, or like one of the powerhouse or Cicero Costa,
sure.
When you see a guy who comes out of there, you're like, oh fuck, he's going to be tough, But when you see a guy that's like on his own and still getting pretty good, you're like, there's something there. And I tend to like those guys more because they tend to be more thoughtful. Sure. Or they have something special going on. And I don't know, I've just always respected it. I kind of daydream about the idea of kind of getting a good kind of on your own and with you and your buddies or something like that. And anyway, Clay was doing that, so he invited me up to visit, and I was like, fuck it. And I came up and I saw the vibe. It was amazing. I knew that I wasn't going to stay in Charleston, and I came up and visited a couple more times, and eventually he was just like, dude, you should just move here. And I built a camper truck so that I could be a Baja in it right now. I'm going to put a tour of it out soon. But I built a camper truck and just packed up my shit and was like, okay, at 28 years old, I guess I'm going to try to be a professional jiu-jitsu athlete. That makes a lot of sense. But I was also very much of the belief that like nothing else was just exciting to me. Like, and I started to do well at like some work that I didn't give a shit about, and I knew it could kind of suck me in soon. And I was like, dang, it's kind of decision time. So yeah, I moved up here and I just do jiu-jitsu full time.
Nice. I mean, I tell people all the time, like, it's a mindset, but also if you're just sitting and saying, you know, you could be sitting in South Carolina right now saying, what if? I mean, that was, you know, a year and a half, 2 years ago that you started making these, you know, big decisions to make that. And like right now you could be sitting and just going, man, I could have done this. I didn't do it. Like, what if? Like, you never want what if to be the, you know, the outcome of something in your life when you feel it so strongly inside. You want to push yourself to go do it. So you did it. So what? Like, you're chasing your dreams, man. And you surrounded yourself with good people and a good team. So that's a big thing. You know what it's like. Like, if you don't have good
I got
people,
lucky as fuck with the team. That was cool. Like,
I mean,
dude, like,
I know all those guys are a bunch of crazy fellas, but they're legitimately
they're good dudes, man. I feel blessed and proud to be part of PSF. And it was weird because when like right after my first visit, after my second visit, the documentary came out and Clay mentioned it. And then me and my dad were watching it. And we get to the part where Andrew's the first one they had done, and Andrew's like, I think probably in like the Hardee's across from the gym or something. Yes. And they're doing an interview with him. And he's just talking about all the shit on him that's broken. He's like, I've separated both AC joints. I have 3 herniated discs in my neck, 3 in my low back, and like I've dislocated both my shoulders. And he goes down this whole list on. And my dad looked at me and was like, I don't know if you should train with these guys. And I was like, fuck, I don't know either, man. This is that's a lot. But you know, getting to know the guys slowly, you know, from day one, most of the HQ guys met me at Pans. And nice. Yeah, and just from minute one, everyone was like, all right, part of the ship, part of the crew. You know? Nice. So,
that's great.
It was cool.
Yeah. That's the kind of people you want to be around. I mean, honestly, when I first decided to challenge myself at an older age, I was like, you know what? It's one martial art I've never done. I've always wanted to do it. I'm going to do it. So I sought it out instantly. Like, Chad and I hit it off. And then 6 months later, he was like, now? 18, 19 months, something like that. But that's with COVID.
Fuck yeah, dude.
Yeah.
Nice.
He started a month before COVID.
Yeah, I started a month before COVID. A lot of people didn't come back.
You've been training in weird times.
Yeah.
Right. I was like, let's do it. But I'm a grinder. I've always been a grinder. Like, I love it. Like,
hell yeah.
Thank God I'm married and have kids, because if not, I'd probably move into a gym. I'd be old guy. I'd be like,
dude, and we have a couple of those. It's crazy. There's a couple folks that I don't know. Jiu-jitsu is something special, and it's like not everyone has the freedom to go dive completely into a thing, but it's a good thing to dive into. And I'd say mostly because the people are amazing, and you get a weird sense of community, really awesome, like natural drugs in your brain on a regular basis.
Yeah, for sure.
Some really hard problems that are really gratifying to solve, man.
Exactly.
So it's a good thing.
And it's wild because you don't, and we talk, and it's, this, Jonathan, you're going to know it right away. Like, you talk to people outside that don't do this, then you stop talking to those people because like, it's hard. It's like hard to have a conversation with them, because I'm like, I can't talk about anything because you're not going to want to talk. So I'll text Chad.
I'm lucky. I had that period for sure, and I've managed to stay in touch with my non-jiu-jitsu friends. But fuck me, I prefer when I can also talk about jiu-jitsu with my friends. And I'll tell you this, if I have a group of my jiu-jitsu friends with my non-jiu-jitsu friends, there's no goddamn way we're not talking about jiu-jitsu.
Right. It overpowers the conversation for sure.
For sure.
The other person's out, or people, they're like, oh, what's this thing? Why do you guys do that?
Dude, you know what's crazy about that? My girlfriend right now, she's in film. She's a cinematographer.
Oh,
and
nice.
she's like always hanging out with people in film. Non-film people do not hang out. Like film people hang out with film people, date film people, have babies with film people. They're like their own weird tribe that way. And I noticed the exact same thing happen. Like you have like 3 film people and there's 8 people. God damn it, we're talking about film.
Yeah.
You know? I can't not do it.
Yeah,
for sure.
For sure. Did you wrestle or anything when you were in high school?
No, man. I didn't do anything athletic prior to martial arts, and I started those at a really late age. I lost I was one of those guys that I couldn't run a mile. I'd never played kid soccer. I never did a single competitive thing ever that I can think of. Maybe quiz bowl counts. I don't know. It's like a team sport though, and it's the furthest thing from jiu-jitsu. But
what is that?
Academic quiz bowl? Oh man, it's the nerdiest thing you could possibly imagine.
This is awesome. I love this,
dude. So check this out. So like, take a trivia night at a bar, right? Someone's sitting there asking questions, and then you like hit a buzzer and answer, right? It's just that, but there's a circuit for it, and it gets
really
deep, man. Oh yeah, and it's like it's its own sport, and people go hard in the paint at it. And
this is awesome. I did not know this.
I was part of the year my school started it, I believe. So it was new, and we were like babies. But you know, it was a magnet school. I went to School of the Arts for high school.
Oh, nice.
And I played violin, and just we had a bunch of really smart people, so we had a decent team off the bat. But you can go to like conferences, and there's like hundreds of people and competitors and stuff. Just like with jiu-jitsu, there's a whole circuit and a world. It's crazy.
That's cool.
But
dude,
yeah, for nerdy ass trivia.
You still play the violin?
Not really. I mean, like I can, and I'm decent, but I don't do it on a day-to-day basis.
Okay.
So weird thing about me, I only have 2 items in the entire world that are physical objects that I actually like really seriously give a fuck about. One's my violin, and I just don't want to keep it in my like camper where it could get too hot.
Yeah, right. You don't want to mess up the wood and the finish and all that stuff.
Exactly.
All the violin, man. I play guitar, so I play a little bit of guitar.
So you know exactly what I'm talking about. You couldn't leave it in the back of a camper truck all the time.
Yeah, no, you don't want to. It needs to be temperature controlled because the things are too expensive. And when you know how to play it, it's cool. Especially you can just chill out by yourself. My grandpa played, kind of taught me a little bit when I was a kid, and I played off and on. I gave it up for a while. Then I picked up an electric guitar, played for a while, then put it down again. And then probably about, my wife and I have been, which is 16 years was our wedding anniversary this weekend. So I've been, probably 16 years solid now, just playing.
Nice.
My daughter plays.
Dang, you must be good, so I would imagine.
I'm not
Chad,
super
you play
good.
Too, right?
No.
Just like nope.
Oh, I don't know why. I thought you were involved in maybe it's just the beard made me think you were involved in rock somehow.
Yeah.
I could have sworn you were like played in a rock band or something.
Nope.
Okay, I just made that up. Well,
yeah, sounds cool.
Strong rock beard.
He does. I joke about that beard all the time. Like he's the wizard. That beard's always flapping in the wind when you're
Unfortunately, Ryan Hall is the only real wizard.
That's true.
Right. Exactly. The true wizard of he's just on a different level. Like he's just
you remember those epic rap battles of history they used to do on YouTube?
Yeah.
They should do one like Ryan Hall versus Gandalf. That would be
cool.
That actually would be really cool. Have you ever got to train with him? Go ahead, Chad.
I was just going to say, I saw that they're talking about Ryan Hall might do ADCC next year.
No way.
Like I saw a rumor. I don't even remember who posted it, but it was like a little, and who knows if it was true. It might have been on somebody's Facebook story. I don't even remember who it was, but
man, I would love.
That'd be sweet if he did.
Yeah, that would be cool.
Yeah.
When's the last time he's competed? Has it been a while?
Jiu-jitsu wise, it's
in
been
grappling?
a long time.
Yeah,
grappling, probably more than 6 years or something.
Really?
It's been a long damn time. Probably more than that. Yeah, that would be huge if he did ADCC. I'd love to see that. Gary Tonin makes me think that he would still do well. And I see him on the gram, and he's going with really good modern grapplers and training with, like John Thomas swing through 50-50 and Margot Chiarelli and what's his name? The Lord of the Half Guard. Fuck. How am I spacing on his name? One of the greatest half guard. Swept Lucas Lepre from half guard. What the fuck? Brian McKenzie? Jake McKenzie. Yeah, like they have a lot of great, and Adam Benuin's always training there, and he just beat Samuel Nagai recently. They have great grapplers there who are still competing at the highest level. So I'm assuming he's probably still very up to snuff, and I'd love to fucking see that, man. Shit.
Yeah, and his mind is just always, I think he's got one of the best jiu-jitsu minds, probably, right?
Yeah, I would imagine. He at the very least, he's a great communicator. I think he also looks at like the core concepts, like very clearly looks for kind of like, I don't know, first principles, I guess would be a good way to say it. But also, some guys just have just kind of a crazy speed of decision making. And I think some of that's just like knowing the positions, obviously. And and then I think some of that is some guys actually just, have a little more horsepower and make really quick decisions. And when you watch him grapple, that's clearly his MO is great speed and decision making. And that never really goes away, I would imagine. So
he was on
I've never trained with him.
Him and his wife were both on the Freeman podcast, and he talked about that. Yeah, that was very, very good. And it was just, he's so articulate in the way that he speaks in terms of, and Freeman's that way too. Like he's speaks that way, same way. But when Ryan's talking, like he talks about like what he's thinking in that podcast, he was talking about it. It was fascinating because I'm like, it's like I don't even understand what he's talking about right now. Kind of blown away.
Well, you got to imagine like when you get to certain levels, you're thinking probably just more conceptually,
Oh yeah.
Yeah, for sure. As we've talked about that before, like. And you alluded to this, Jonathan, you're blue belt, but you continuously grow, and then it's obviously different. Where like nerves slow down and things slow down for you, and like you're able to go speed wise, but everything that you're seeing and everything is just kind of like slow motion. As the better you get, and obviously the more ranked you go, and the higher you go, obviously the more time on the mat, as everyone says and tells me. That's what guys were telling me last week at the gym. A couple guys I talked to, I was nothing bad, just great night. And I was frustrated with myself. And I'm like, some days I think this is never going to slow down. Like, this is like, I'm rolling against somebody that's like, they're spazzing out, and I'm actually just trying to chill and just roll and just look for certain things and let them do what they want to do. But then I get into like, well, crap, you're going nuts. So I'm just going to like grab a hold of you really hard and do whatever. And then later, even a day later, I asked a couple of guys, I'm like, that are higher ranked than me. I'm like, this does slow down, right? I mean, I know I've been doing it for, 18, 19 months now. I'm like, but come on, man.
I don't think it ever slows down like as a whole. I
feel like
it slows down in tiny little parts. So, like, for example, I think of it actually kind of like as adding layers. So the adding layers thing, the first time I ever noticed that was like I was hanging around chickens a bunch. And at first, like 50 chickens look like 50 anonymous chickens. But if you hang out around them long enough, then you can only see individual chickens. And I think it's kind of like that. And you would see one or two at a time. And then that you would always know that one henceforth. And I think it's kind of like when you begin seeing like, oh, there's back exposure. I know I can hit my chair sit on that. Then that one window in that one place, that part of the roll slows down. But once you start seeing, oh, he's reaching for me, I can get a tight underhook here, that will open up where you see his knees pointing and you're like, I can sprawl on that and windshield wiper over, and you'll see those little pieces, and that will kind of add together to make the whole thing slow down. But the whole thing doesn't slow down, because anytime someone presents you with something that you're like, what the fuck just happened? It's because you don't have words for it. You haven't made thoughts for it. You haven't carved ideas about it yet. And that's why it seemed too fast for you to follow. But like, the more we assign names to those positions and thoughts to those names and actions to those, it'll all slow down in pieces.
Good. That's good.
Yeah. So I'll tell you, like, one way, if you want to like start seeing that happen quicker, is you just absolutely focus on one piece, ideally from a more static position, like where you know it'll almost inevitably happen. So like, for example, if you're passing half guard top, well, 9 times out of 10, especially if you position your arm outside the hip where he's not going to have an easy time arm dragging you, the guy's going to shoot an underhook at some point, right? You already know that that's going to happen. So you could just be like, okay, I'm going to have one response that I do every time the guy underhooks me in half guard. And then that piece of it will stop being static and it'll start being slower. And then as you do it more and more, and you know more things that you could do there, the whole thing will seem slow. And eventually you'll be beating guys to what they're trying to do, making them pay for it in one small area.
Nice. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Can we go roll now, Chad? Can you open the gym? I have to work on something.
I got mats right here beside
you. Got mats beside you, I know.
Yeah.
Dude, that's awesome. It's such a huge benefit to have dudes around and mats, right? Like, just like all the time. Just for if something like this goes down, you're like, let's go do something.
Yeah. Chad, yeah. He'll like text me and be like, dude, what are you doing? Do you want to come over and roll?
Hell yeah. You actually probably have a little bit of a benefit, I would think, in coming up in the time of COVID to some degree, because I feel like most people, their journey starts off with like a very structured, very regimented thing. It's like you're going to try to make it on these nights.
Sure.
And that kind of limits them to some degree, whereas I think like if you started off with being in your buddy's backyard and being like, hey, maybe we'll work this way right now or this way, you're probably a lot more used to having some freedom, and that'll serve you really well, you know, like, especially when you start like, you know, knowing more stuff and seeing more stuff, and you can identify more what you need to be working on. That's super helpful, because you can't go into class and guarantee that you're going to get, like, I don't know what position you would want to work on. Let's say, like, you can't guarantee that you'll get an overhook from closed guard, because maybe he wants to stand and he's going to be standing passing or something.
Sure.
But you can, like, 1,000 times out of 1,000, have your buddy be like, all right, we're starting from here. Go.
And just go. Yeah. Right.
Yeah. And just make sure you can keep problem solving in that area, you know?
Nice. No, that's good advice for sure, man. Because I'm always looking, Chad knows that I'm like this. I'm the question guy. Like, I'm always questioning not things. I'm questioning like certain spots. Like, should my hand be here? Should I do this exactly? You know, like, even
that's the best kind of question guy, not the what if he does this?
Yeah, well, that comes up too.
That does come up too. Not from me too often. Like, in the very beginning it did, but I don't ask those questions. Because I was like, because Chad would always be like, well, it's jujitsu. And then I learned very fast, like a few weeks in, and then we were off. I was like, oh yeah, when I go back, I'm not asking this, because it is jujitsu, because you have no idea what's going to happen. The whole point is getting better. So you see every move and see everything, like you're alluding to, you know, Jonathan.
For the record, those guys are my favorite guys, because I was that guy. And like, I think if you're not that guy, you're just like not critically thinking, man. And I'm just not going to absolutely adore you. So it's kind of like, I feel like it's that you know how like when you're a teenager, you have to separate yourself, your identity from your parents, and that's always going to mean like the tiniest stupid little rebellions, at least, right?
Sure.
Yeah.
It's kind of like that. It's like, if you don't go through that, who the fuck are you? I don't even like you.
True, for sure. That's awesome. So what made you want to grapple, man? Like, what made you want to get into just grappling? Did you walk into a gym sometime, or did you see something?
Okay, so I'm a interesting case where, to some degree, where I kind of think the real answer is just like birth. Like, I think some people are just like, you have a grapple gene. I know some people that they just have a hunting gene. I really think it's like there's something just encoded in them. They get a deep pleasure from hunting that's just primal. And I think a ton of people, more than people think, have that with grappling, where it's just like some part of you needs to tangle, and specifically grappling. And like, it's the play fighting of all mammals, you know?
Yeah.
And I think mine is kind of a story of actually not wanting to grapple, but just having to. Honestly, it's I kind of got dragged into this step by step. Like, I I had like 2 years when I first started where I was just like, why do I do this? I cannot believe I pay money to do this. This is the dumbest thing. I'll never be good. I'm never going to do this for money. So why the fuck should I do this? This is terrible.
Look at you now, man.
I just couldn't stop. I just kept showing up. Like every month I would show up and just be like, hey, I'm here to get my ass kicked. I need this apparently. So
yeah. You ever hear that story about Nate Diaz, why he kept showing up?
No.
Because he was like so broke, he couldn't afford to eat. So after jiu-jitsu, they would go like get tacos or something and people would buy him food. Like,
dang.
And then he
did it for the tacos.
He did it for it was whatever food it was, and then eventually
please let it be tacos. That's just a better saying. I did it for the tacos.
I did it for the tacos.
Yeah. You heard it here first.
Yeah, he kept showing up, and he got his blue belt, and then it just kept he kept coming back. So
it's just a feedback loop at a certain point for some people.
Yeah,
but that's crazy. There's the tacos.
Yeah, there's a gratifying thing to it too. Once you get, we've had, obviously in the time that I've been there, I've talked to newer guys that have come in and they'll ask me the same thing. How long have you been doing this? I'm like, hey man, I'm not far in front of you. Like it's the same. Just keep coming. I was scared too at first. Even though I'm older, it's just about coming in. I just didn't know how people were going to accept me, with like that kind of stuff. It was like, I don't know how this goes. Like I'm used to just going and lifting and running and doing all that stuff, but okay, this is cool.
Well, it sounds like you were at least in shape already too, which is awesome.
Yeah. COVID probably made me less out of shape because I got lazy and worked from home and got bored. Before I was like a double gym guy. I would go to the gym twice. I would work out during the day, then I would go train at night at the gym, even starting there. And then COVID came. So now I'm actually close to maybe going back twice a day to the jiu-jitsu gym and training twice.
Hell yeah, dude. That's crazy. That is crazy.
And I don't compete. I just like it.
I bet you anything.
I know a lot of guys at the gym already.
If you're on 2-a-days, you're going to want to compete at some point. And for the record, I think you should. I don't think everyone needs to be a competitor. That would be crazy.
Sure.
But I do think it's shocking to me. And I think, I don't know where I got this number. I think Keenan said it. So maybe it's complete bullshit for all I know. But I was told at some point that only 5% of people who do jiu-jitsu ever compete. And I actually believe it. Because I'll just like go to a tournament and I'm like thinking about how many gyms there are around in just that city or within a few hundred miles and like how few people are there. And it's like, I think you owe it to yourself to compete. I think for 2 reasons. One, it completely changes your perspective on your training partners. Like all of a sudden they feel more like allies. That's why I love that I'm at a competition gym because everyone here, like we'll finish an open mat or a hard training session, and especially when there's a lead up to pans, Clay will like be like, hey, every single body in this room is helping us put those medals on that wall. Like this is a team fucking effort. And it's just so fucking true because like at least now there's an objective out there. Whereas if you never compete, then you're like, when you're driving around, you're not thinking about the guy at the tournament, you're thinking about Jerry. And you're like, that fucker Jerry, he always Kimuras me. And like my goal for tonight is not to get better for the tournament, it's to not get Kimuras by Jerry.
Jerry, yeah.
And it's like, I think so one, it changes your perspective on your teammates. And then 2, I think it's just awesome to like realize like to what degree the training is ingrained in you because at the very least, until you get very comfortable competing, which I think takes a lot of competing, there's a lot of adrenaline, man.
Sure.
You just don't perform. You just don't perform the way you would hope or think you might, or at least for some people perform better, but it's just very telling about how ingrained things are in you. Like, could you do it if you were in the dark and bopped over the head? It's kind of like, I think,
for sure.
The test. And it's very cool because you might be surprised what you might do. I do well, and it's cool. Yeah. So I think you will compete. I'd be willing to bet. You're going into 2-a-days. You're gonna have the itch.
Chad, Jay Stu and Dan was telling me this week. They're like, you're competing. Like they were just already saying, and then
you just got to find the right tournament, where you can do a Masters or whatever,
Yeah.
I think so at our tournament this past weekend, I just did open adult.
Nice.
But I had I have a 53-year-old 2-stripe white belt that jumped in with the adults. And
nice.
He's like, I'm sorry I didn't win. I'm like, dude, like that's a huge thing that you even stepped out there with those young dudes. And he's a heavyweight. Like you've seen white belt heavyweights go at it. It's like it's a fight, right?
Dude, it's a scrap. It's a scrap.
Sure. Yeah.
As the meme says, if you don't think there's fighting and grappling, you never seen two heavyweight white belts go at it. Then
we have I mean, there's levels to that, of course, but we have a fucking awesome masters crew out here, and every Fuji, every Grapple Games, every AGF, whatever, you know, a lot of them don't have those masters divisions. So we got guys that'll go and they're scrapping with 20-year-olds and they're 50, 45. And we got some studs, man, like some stud white belt masters competitors, like,
nice.
Like just these older driven dudes who wake up and, you know, run 6 miles and shit like that. And I mean, like, I can't do the shit that they can do. It's crazy. Like we got this one guy, Jeremy Smith, I call him Silver Fox. And he's like 45. And I remember one day we get done with like a hard fucking practice. Like it's a hard open mat or something. And I'm like, all right, I'm going to leave and go get some coffee to try to just rejuvenate me so I can do something today. And on the way, he's running. He left open mat after 2 hours of hard sparring and he's running. And then I get my coffee and shit and stand in line and I come out and he's running the other way. And I was like, dang, like he just lapped me. Yeah, he's a monster, but you'd be surprised like how well you can do against those guys. But my point with that is they'll go against these 20-year-olds and stuff. Sometimes they'll lose, but then they'll go to IBJJF where they finally have a masters division and they're like, holy shit, that was easy.
It's a lot different.
Yeah, because they're in their in your area with guys that are quote unquote size and all that kind of stuff. Maybe not skill level, but size. I mean,
that's the beautiful thing about jiu-jitsu is that we will find you an opponent of a commensurate skill level and size and weight. You know what I'm saying? Like that matters. And like I don't, you know, I don't go compete at ultra heavy. Like I know what the deal is. You know, that guy's gonna put the smush on me. You know, right. I do open weights sometimes, but and it's fucking comical. But like, you know, I love that there's age divisions. Shit, hey, y'all want to hear something crazy?
Oh, for sure, bro.
My dad started jiu-jitsu recently.
Nice.
He is 60 or 61.
Nice. Good for him, man.
I think he's 61, and he just started like brand new white belt. And dude, he's getting to where he's like sparring like 3 times a week. He's trying to go hard in the paint.
Good for him. That is good for him. Yeah. Jiu-jitsu is good for everybody, you know, if you've got to push your mind and, you know, push your body. And
I'm going to get that guy to compete too. You best watch him. The last masters, whatever, but he's going to do it.
Get out there. When you compete next? When you competing next, Jonathan?
Probably the Nashville Open.
That's
like, that's probably our next one, I would imagine. I'm not doing Nogi Worlds. I was signed up for Nogi Worlds, but I had the hurt rib going into Pans, and then it got hurt worse during Pans, and then it's just been weeks not healing. And finally, Clay was like, "Hey, dude, just stop fucking drilling. Even just rest. Just do whatever running, strength conditioning that you can without hurting yourself, but just completely stop." And I did that for a week, and it was fucking miserable, not even drilling, and then I got back today. So that was really nice. Good, man.
I'm glad you got back. Yeah. I mean, injuries are hard to work through, especially when you're young and you're training hard and you want to keep training and stuff, and to have like an injury that you can't work through. You know what I mean? Like there's stuff that we get like that
you just have to let heal. Yeah, totally. This is also like, it's not just my workout, like not just my therapy, my workout. It's also my job, my career. And beyond that, like, dude, I live in a camper. I'm very lopsided into one thing in my life right now. Like this is my everything. So when this stalls out, I'm not gonna lie, it's rough, man. Like it's rough when I'm hurt. I know everyone knows it. If you do this for any length of time, at some point you're gonna get hurt, and when you get hurt, you're probably gonna get a little depressed, and that's what the fuck that is. And you just gotta get through it. Do the things that you can. Sleep well, rest up, train, fix it, whatever rehab, work hard, get back to it. And I feel good to be back to it. That's all I'll say.
Yeah, I'm glad you're healthy, man, and that you were able to weather that storm, brother, because that's hard. I know what you mean. Like it's hard, and it's hard when you have something so passionate in you kind of taken away. It's not taken away fully, but it's like, wow, it's over there and I can't even do that right now. Like, that's hard. You know, they talk
Especially
about,
like,
go ahead.
No, after you, man. Sorry.
No, you know, they talk about professional athletes that, you know, people are like, oh, they're just hurt. Like, it's not a big deal. I'm like, you have no idea, man. They're separated from people. Like, they're separated from everything, and they only can focus on their training, and they see trainers, or they see this, or they have to do the rehabbing or whatever. They're not included in their teammates. They are, but not like competition wise. You know what I mean? Like, you're not out there. So that's tough. I know what you mean. Like,
yeah, dude. Plus, especially like, you know, everyone, whether you want to admit it or not, you get sources of ego. You know, good or bad. Yeah. Like, you have things that give you ego that make you feel good about yourself. You know, and if you're an athlete, that's like number 1, 2, and 3 probably. And then beyond that, it's pretty much, for me at least, it's just like, you know, I like good food, makes me feel a little better. Maybe not ego, but and then women. And I've cut way back on the good food and the women recently. So, like, you know, jiu-jitsu's it. So.
That's all you got,
dude. Like, trying to eat boring, healthy food and not see many women folk.
You got to go back to the bad food,
which is really more destructive.
I was gonna say that's probably more destructive than the other side of the fence, the female agenda. They could be destructive too.
So, Chad, how'd you get into jiu-jitsu? What's your story?
You know, I started karate back in the 80s, you know, since my first karate class was 1982. So I'm a little older, and that's all we had, you know, that's all we had back in the day. Like, Bruce Lee legit was like my hero, even though he passed away before I was even born, but that was the guy in the 80s. As I got older, I think I got up to brown belt in karate. I got my black belt since then, but, you know, martial arts is something that always came back. You know, high school, I'd always go back to karate. And then, you know, right after high school, I discovered the UFC. I graduated in 94. The first UFC was in 93. But right after that, I don't even know how I found the video. You know, I remember going home and watching.
You got in early. You've been at this.
Well, I started jiu-jitsu in 04.
Okay.
But I started watching those UFCs, and like the guys that I want to say looked up to, but those karate guys were getting their butts kicked by this dude wearing pajamas, right? You know,
pajamas all the way, my guy.
Yeah. So it's like I had to figure it out, and then I had time to get back into. I went to this Taekwondo school, and I'm like, this isn't what I want. You know, this isn't it. And in our area, we had nothing, right? So I found where I still train, East Coast Martial Arts, had a no-gi class once a week. And when I say no-gi, it was more MMA. You know, you might be working clinch stuff off the wall. But eventually I made my way to a guy down in Carrollton, Ohio, which is probably 45 minutes south of us, that was teaching out of his basement. He was a blue belt under Hoist Gracie.
Nice.
I might have just got his purple belt from somebody. I think he was still, I can't remember, but I started training in his basement 3 days a week. He charged us $5 a class.
Nice.
Yeah. So
well, that's cool, man. I think about that sometimes. Like, the guys who are just like, look, I got a garage, come train. Like, that's a beautiful thing about martial arts is if you want to set up a school, you can kind of start with just like, where can I put some fucking mats that doesn't get rained on? You know?
Yeah.
No overhead to this business. A lot of skills. That's it.
Yeah.
Shout out to some friends and show up. And then next thing you know, that's what you got.
Well, you must be really happy karate's on the comeback since then, man. You got a couple karate kids doing well in MMA now.
Yeah.
In my home state of South Carolina, we got Stephen Wonderboy Thompson.
Yeah.
By the way, I want to see fucking Thompson versus Kamaru Usman so much. That would be. Yeah,
that'd be good.
That'd be a good fight because Kamaru would not be able to get on his legs. He wouldn't be able to corner him against the cage. He shoots almost all his takedowns on the guys against the cage. He's not going to crowd Wonderboy to the cage. His movement's too good.
Yeah.
That'd be a good fight.
It'd be a really good fight. Sure.
Did you guys watch the fights last night?
I did not.
I did not either. I today after I got home from camping, I was like, went on ESPN, and then I went down and started looking. I was like, dang, man. And then on Instagram, I was reading all the
Let me
stuff.
guess. You watched Who's Number One, though.
Oh, I did today. It was on my phone as I had my beloved Cleveland Browns on the TV screen.
Dude, isn't that crazy? I couldn't even imagine a day would come where I would watch more jiu-jitsu than MMA. Like,
yeah, I don't watch the fights anymore, honestly.
Just watch jiu-jitsu.
Yeah, I just watched jiu-jitsu.
Yeah, no, I feel that. Actually, yesterday when they were telling me the fights were on, like asking if I wanted to come see the fights, I was like, wait, who's fighting? They're like, oh, Volkanovski and Ortega. I was like, oh my God, I can't believe I didn't know about that. But I know, the entire Who's Number One card.
Right, exactly.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah. Hey, and you guys see Hillbilly Heel Hook Roberto?
Yeah, I was just gonna say that. You shout out to your teammate.
Yeah.
And I don't want to say that Jacob's not on the map, right? Because people know who he is. But
but he wasn't at that level. He just ascended to another level when you tap out Roberto Jimenez.
Yeah, and he beat Tackett, right?
Yeah, and Tackett's a motherfucker, but like Roberto fucking Jimenez, that's a different level. That's like one of the guys that you could have been like, okay, he's one of the best guys.
Yeah,
yeah, at that weight class in his jiu-jitsu, he's legit.
I have a theory that like at any given moment in time, there's like 250 in the world of what I call motherfuckers, and they could just go with anybody. Like they go to any school, they go to any competition room, and they can just go with anybody. They may not win, right? But they're going to be respected by anybody. They're going to go with anybody. They are real motherfuckers. And then you have the motherfucker of motherfuckers. And that's like those that 10 guys.
Yeah.
Roberto was one of those 10 guys.
Yeah.
You know? Like he was one of those 10 guys, and Couch took him out the other night. So that's huge.
That's big, man.
That gets me giddy talking about.
Yeah. He got that hard too. He was on it.
Yeah.
He was still standing.
Still standing. Yeah.
Yeah. He just elevated his whole leg off the ground with his hip bridge, and then there was no weight on it, and then he broke it. And Roberto seemed to be completely like flummoxed by the fact that he couldn't clear it at all.
Yeah.
I actually was just thinking about that today. Clay got me with a footlock, and I was like super pissed about it because in that position in the gi, I could usually grab a collar and like crush in or something. But in no gi, there's no way to just kind of smush through it and put weight on it. So I was trying to clear his foot off my hip, and it was just clamped on there so fast. And that's between Roberto last night and that today. I was like, you know what? I'm going to drill just clearing the foot off my hip if someone's trying to footlock me. Just getting really good at the motion of fuck your friend. Because if you can get past that, you got a damn good chance of smashing through it. And I like to smash through the footlocks. But like if that guy can just clamp on your hip and send it, and you're not fast enough, that's done.
As soon as as soon as that heals up on there. Yeah.
Dude, it's bad.
That's good though. I mean, that's a prime example back to what you were talking about. Like you put yourself in that position, you're like, you know what? I'm just going to work on clearing this foot. And
that's exactly what I'm going to do. I'll start by drilling it. I'll say, just try to keep pressure here and drill it. And then eventually I'll be like, okay, I'm going to try to, we're going to say go. And you're going to try to break my foot off a little bit though. Like only a little bit.
Right. So nobody breaking his off.
Right. And then like after like maybe 2-3 days of that, I'll be like, all right, break it, motherfucker. I dare you. We'll see what happens.
Yeah. See where you're at. Yeah.
So that'd be the way to handle that. There's just so much stuff that's like that where you're like, dang man, what's a big one? Andrew was talking about this the last time he was down here. He was like, Jonathan, you just need to grab a collar. Just grab a collar like 10,000 times. You're just way too shitty at just reaching and connecting. Like you fumble. And it's just so obnoxious because he's right. Like you really do need to just at some point sit there and just be like, I'm going to grab a collar. Or you can wait until you've been at this for forever, and that comes naturally. Or you could just sit there and make the time to grab a collar 10,000 times.
And just do it, Best fact is, doing the 10,000 breaks, like grip breaks. Like Andrew talked about that, like break and break.
That shit sucks. I vacillate so hard back and forth between. I kind of think of it as like my two technique dads, like the two like major influences on my game. And I guess I could just sum up one as PSF. It's like Clay and Andrew,
sure.
Right? Clay, Andrew, Heath, the whole team to some degree. Although, there's a lot of variation with the team, but there's a lot of like, our team clearly has a lot of beliefs, a lot of orthodoxies that we follow, and a lot of them are just so proven. And then the other one's John Thomas. And, you know, John Thomas has obviously like reached a really high level in competition himself. And, you know, I don't know how much you guys follow him or whatever, but the guy is just clearly a genius of our sport. You know, he was designing satellite systems for I think the Pentagon before he decided to quit and just strangle people.
Wow. What a job to give up.
Oh yeah, he reached a really high level in chess. He reached a high level in competitive gaming. Like he just kind of, he's a unique mind. And you know, there are guys like him, Kid Dale, to some degree Margot Chiarelli, like that would tell you like, hey, this is more about creating a space where you have time to play and explore and learn new things and like, you know, kind of grow your mind basically. And that you should be doing a lot of things with very little resistance and like developing this kind of playful thing. And then some of like PSF just being like, nah, bro, do this 10,000 fucking times now, hard, do it. You know?
Right.
Like, and you know, Kid Dale's like, oh, drilling's bullshit, which is of course crazy. Like, you know, drilling is clearly, but it's like, how much of your time could you really devote to this? You know, like at one point I was trying to listen to what Andrew was saying and doing like just this one passing little combo that would have started a longer sequence where you Toriando, the guy tries to throw the lasso back over, you punch one of the grips to the ground and then jump back over to the other side, right? And I was just trying to do 200 of that at a time. And I was doing like 200 of a couple other things too. But just the 200 of that murders you. Like it kills your shoulders. I had like a piece of skin that just would not, there was nothing I could do to just keep it closed just from punching the pant grip down.
Yes.
And like my shoulders were breaking, like my grips just hurt more than usual by a lot. Like, you know, and it's just like, dude, how much can you really devote to this and what is the benefit to that? So I'm always trying to like find the balance that works for me of like, okay, I should just like try to find a better way to do this, or no, bro, you should sit here and just clear a foot off your hip fucking 1,000 times until you do that automatically. Yeah. Or, you know, maybe it's like, I should watch the footage of that. Oh, he only got to the ankle lock because of this. Maybe if I just angle my hip this way, he'll never even get that. I don't know. But that's a weird balance that I'm struggling to find and continue to struggle to find like a year in.
You'll get there, brother. Go ahead, Chad.
I would say at least your grips will be better now that you got that limitless tape.
Yes, thank you for that, by the way. That was great. I only got to try it out in a light practice yesterday. Nice. Because that was kind of my first day back, but it was we were doing more like, it was a little lighter, doing y'all know Designated Winner? Have y'all heard of this?
I have not.
No. Unless we no.
So this is like really random. I'll do the short version of this, but when I was staying in Sweden with John, his brother showed up for a while and we met in Sweden, and then much later his brother was like, I'm moving to Nashville, where do you train again? And now I train with John's brother, and Joe was running the class, and he does this format that he learned from John, and John learned it from Espen Mathisen, and him and Tommy Lancacker and those guys do this all the time. And basically it's just, you have like a sequence, it could be anything, but like we usually do sweep then pass. So like the guy on bottom is the designated winner, and at some point in the roll he is going to sweep you and then he is going to pass you. That is what will happen. So the guy on top knows that, so it's not like he like lowers the resistance to nothing. It's just like he might like take 3 or 4 or 5 pass attempts and back off of them at the last second before he like locks in the pass, and then the other guy will, you know, eventually sweep, you know, and it kind of empowers you to do a lot of stuff you wouldn't normally do. And then that guy will pass and then you all will swap. So it was pretty light practice, but it held up great. Nice. And very sticky. I like that. Didn't leave the glue marks like the monkey tape, though. I hate that shit, man.
Oh, man.
Like, I'll get done with practice, and I'll be trying to go to dinner with my girlfriend. I'll be sitting there rubbing fucking monkey tape glue off my fingers for forever.
That's why we did a bunch of testing and that stuff, and that was one of my big things. Because when I started, you know, I'm being older, my hands are, jacked up. I played a lot of sports and stuff. And it was like, man, oh, what's that stuff? Chad's like, it's tape. I'm like, oh, what do you do with that? Tape your knuckles up. I'm like, okay, cool. So then we got into this, starting our own, tape. And I was like, I don't want that. I had monkey tape to start and it left all that stuff on there all the time. So I'd be like, dang, what is this? I'm like, I don't want all this on my hand. Like, what I put duct tape on there? Like, if I wanted duct tape on there, I would use duct tape then, because it leaves residue. But so we worked it out. Now Limitless Tape's here to stay.
Oh yeah. Love the logo too, by the way.
Thanks, man. Thanks. Cool.
How did I come up with the name?
Chad and I bounced it around for a while when we decided to do the podcast, like it's something neither one of us ever did. I'm not very good at it.
Crazy amount of episodes out fast. Holy shit! y'all are hustling.
We're trying. Yeah, we're trying. Take two old guys that don't know what we're doing, but it was like, look, just do it. Like I said earlier, man. Like you could sit and could be like, oh man, I don't want to do that, and then we could be right here, right now, just hanging out, not even doing this, and going, man, what if we would have started that?
So that's how it started, Jonathan. We talked about this forever. And then, are we going to do it? Just talking crap or whatever. And then I get a couple Amazon packages. Terry shipped. I got a light, the microphone, and something else to my house. I'm like, well, I guess we're doing the podcast. Yeah.
He calls me. He's like, I guess we're starting.
Yeah. Like, yep. So we started in January of this year. So I think you're going to be episode 34, maybe.
33.
Something like that.
He's 33. Yeah.
Yeah.
Because we just did Christian and
Klingerman. Yeah.
Klingerman. Yeah.
Yeah. So
James Klingerman.
Yeah.
That's our affiliate. Cool. Yeah.
That's who I got my James is the one that gave me my black belt.
Yeah, he's a good grappler, man, and those guys put out some tough, mostly I would say like MMA fighters. I've seen some really tough James Klingerman black belt MMA fighters.
Yeah. Yeah, he's a good dude, man. He's a lot I don't want to he shows some unorthodox things, right? Like he loves the Von Flue series, and he's got a Peruvian dozen series. He calls it the Peruvian dozen. Like once you hit the Peruvian choke, he's got 12 things off of that on their reactions.
Damn.
Yeah,
awesome.
Yeah. He's got some cool
stuff.
There's
a lot of power in some weird shit.
Yeah.
Just because, like, if you can pull someone into an area where you got a lot more familiarity than them, it's like, dude, you're in deep waters now, man.
Absolutely.
You know? And one easy way to do that is just do weird shit. I'll tell you, man, I've been watching a lot of Barrett Yoshida recently for the same
that
thing,
crucifix.
Dude. It's just like, dude, who's that good? Who's that good from the fucking crucifix?
Right.
And I'm just watching the way he enters it. He's mostly entering it off of guys like passing.
Yeah.
And it's not like he's doing these cool sequences where he's forcing turtles and taking the crucifix.
Nope.
He's snatching it off of guys like passing and doing double legs and shit. And it's crazy. And you're just like, well, he found that area and he can just get everyone there somehow.
Yeah.
And he's come up with some cool shit. Y'all see him hit that assassin choke the other day?
Yeah, it's amazing.
Dude, the moment I saw that, I was like, some poor white belt is getting
some poor white belt's hitting this
assassin choke tonight. Oh, yeah. Yep. I've done it like 3 or 4 times now. I love it. I'm just like, hey, man, if you're terrible, you get an assassin choke.
It's a sweet choke, too. It is
awesome.
Yeah. That's a good choke for sure. That's funny.
I was watching a video of Keenan at one of his seminars. Like he'll post those videos. Keenan rolls with an entire school of 40 people nonstop or whatever. Right? Yeah. So I was watching one of those the other day. He pulled out a guy's lapel and he did a little dummy sweep kind of hook to off balance the guy backwards from a seated guard. And he just stood up with the lapel and the guy's head was low and he just wrapped it around his neck once real fast. Ankle picked him and then started strangling him with it.
Man.
And I was like, okay, new weird lapel madness I must try,
Ankle pick choke.
Yeah.
It was weird.
Disappointed. He was supposed to be in Ohio last weekend, and I had paid to go to his seminar, and something came up, and he couldn't make it, so they refunded everybody. But I was really pumped to, do a seminar with him. Well, not even roll. I mean, that would be awesome too. Yeah, but he's got some good stuff.
Dude, I want to go to a Keenan seminar because he rolls at his seminars. He does. He's got great material out there, but you can learn his material from all the varied places that he's putting most of his thoughts and ideas, right?
Yeah.
And I think it's just so cool when a guy rolls at their seminars because it's so beneficial when you feel that level. Like, before rolling with Andrew Wiltsey, I would not have believed that I was still at this point rapeable by like
by a human being.
Yeah, just like one dude.
Right.
But like, I guess I still am, you know? Like, and it's funny, that was like what got me into jiu-jitsu is I felt it. I got handled by this black belt and I could not believe it. And I was like, wow, I wouldn't have believed that without feeling it. So I want to roll with Keenan so bad. I saw him going with the Bolo brothers the other day, Nick Salas and Danny Myra. And he was rolling with them in a video and he was doing pretty well. And I was like, damn, those guys are motherfuckers. I gotta see what Keenan feels like. I think he puts the smush on the little guys different. You know,
probably.
He's used to fighting the Meow brothers.
Yeah.
I think purple belt. He was always like fighting Meow brothers, man.
Yeah.
He must know how to smush little guys better than anybody.
Well, it's like me, like rolling with Andrew. Like when he came in, it was like it was just just feeling his strength. You know, I've never. You know, he's world class, obviously black belt. And it was like, holy crap. Like, you know, I was obviously very new and all that, but it was like, everyone asked me, like, how was that? I can't believe you walked up and just said, roll with him. I was like, I think he's rolled with anybody. I was like, Bird was rolling with anybody. I was like, I just asked. I was like, and he destroyed me. Like, I was like, which I expected, but it was just different. It was different than rolling with anybody you ever roll with.
And he's not even that strong. He's just so well positioned at every point, and he does have big old fat legs.
That's what. So his legs, I was shocked because that was the first time I seen him in person, and then rolling with him, I was like, "Good Lord, dude!" I was like, "His legs are like tree trunks, man."
He's got big old fat legs.
Yes,
don't even make sense. His knees are just big. It's like it's not like he did. I asked him once, I said, "Well, why you got so big legs?" And he said something about like doing squats since he was little or something. But he's full of shit. He's just got. It's just like that.
It's just like that.
You know?
That's awesome.
But he does do all sorts of stuff for like his like weird jujitsu strengths though that I think most people don't do. You know, most people are only out there like deadlifting and stuff like that. And like you're gonna get explosive and strong if you're doing Olympic lifting. Like there's just no two ways about it. But there's like weird jujitsu strength that people don't think about, or at least most people don't think about, that he really does some focus on. I've done a little bit, and it is helpful. Like I'll just squeeze shit and close guard.
Oh yeah.
Like, I'll get a sleeping bag compressed into like a pillow into like a case, you know, for it. And I'll just sit there and squeeze the fuck out of it for as long as I can.
Nice.
You know, stuff like that.
It's exercises you can do when you're just hanging out. Yeah, it's not. I mean, people. It may sound weird. It doesn't sound weird to jiu-jitsu guys. Maybe it does. I don't know. But there's always odd stuff that you want to do. There's always the odd stuff that you could be like, oh, let me do that. That'll work. Or just do it. Like just sit here and, you know, I don't have a strength. Like I squeeze one of these literally all day. I've done this for years. This is before I even started jiu-jitsu. Like I always do. And I've really
fucking helpful.
Yeah. I have my grip strength is pretty good. I can say I don't have bad grip strength, but I used to like squeeze a tennis ball before I bought these, and I would like break them. Like I would just squeeze them, and just they would get old and just wore out. So they'd pop, you know, not like explode pop, but I mean, it'd crack, you know, and it'd be like crap. Like
I used to have really good grip strength. Mine's just shit now from playing so much open guard. I actually got worse grip strength from using them more. I swear to God. Like, I remember I went with this guy in Charleston, Winston Ramos, and he won Black Belt Worlds no gi one time, I believe. And he runs the Checkmat affiliate up there. And he went with me, and we got to this point where he had made some grip, and I could not break it. Like I was just trying to break it, sat there, could not do it no matter what. And he's a guy who's like my size, and I'd never had that experience. Like guy my size can't break the grips, just fucked with my head. And I was like, okay, note to self, I'm going to get crazy grips. And I started hanging off of a gi, just for as long as I could. And I got to a pretty respectable time. But holy shit, by the time I did, my hands were so just gnarled and
just gnarled up. Yeah.
And I didn't always tape them for that. And I should have. I'm going to start always taping them if I ever go back to that. But yeah. Great grips is amazing. I've struggled to find a way to do it that like I don't know, I feel translates directly to holding a gi grip, but also
Sure.
doesn't fuck up my hands.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
Like my problem will be, and Chad gets on me all the time. He'll go, let go of that grip, let go of it. It's not doing anything for you. Cause
you're holding them fast when you should.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's just like my hands will lock in and it doesn't bother my hands at all. Like I'm not really feeling it and I'm just holding it. And then he'll be watching me roll and he's like, let go. That's not doing anything for you. And you know, in my brain, I'm like, I'm going to die if I let go of this.
Yeah, that's it.
And I'm not. Like, I know that, but it's like, okay, then I'll slowly just open my fingers and let it go. But I'm learning that part of it too. It's like, oh, you can have good grip strength, but know to let go. You don't need that anymore.
Yeah, there's two really like good heuristics that you can use to know when it's time to let go. And it's that you only get to pull on things, which is to say hold grips. You know, if you're A, passing, or B, your feet are involved, you know, because like the moment the guy's passing on you, it's time to start pushing. You get you don't have to
let go, and frame up
when someone starts passing on you. Yeah. And even if you're playing guard, like let's say you get a lapel grip, you know, like a low lapel grip, you know, like you're playing worm or something like that. If you don't have your foot in that thing in some way, shape, or form, it's a dead grip, and now the guy's going to pass you for it.
Right.
No two ways about it.
For sure.
Yeah.
You like gi, no gi more now?
Oh, I am the pajama strangler, my friend. I'm a pure pajama grappler. I've actually literally never competed no-gi, if you can believe that. I'm actually just starting.
Oh, no kidding. Really? Wow.
Never.
I did not know this.
Pajama guy, yeah. I am starting to learn no-gi right now, though. And the main reason I didn't want to is because I realized a while back that if you're going to do any no-gi, there is no true guard play in no-gi. Because to finish a sweep, you have to be able to wrestle. And like with almost no exceptions, you can do like the shoulder crunch, butterfly series, couple of stuff from like butterfly that doesn't involve wrestling. But otherwise, like half guard, single leg XX, if you're not playing the leg lock game, so IBJJF, you need to wrestle. And I don't want to wrestle. I didn't want to wrestle. So I'm just not like,
it's a lot of work.
And also like, it's just so much of my artillery goes out the window. I feel like, I think Edwin Najmi said the best. He was like, yeah, I'm proficient. I'm a good grappler, no gi, but I'm an artist in the gi. And you just took away 20 of my brushes.
Yeah.
And I just feel that so hard. It's like the moment you took away all my brushes, I'm just not a happy dude.
Yeah. No, I've never heard it like that too. That's awesome. That makes sense. I mean, for me, because I'm new, I train no-gi just once in a while, not very often. I have a little bit of a wrestling background, so that helped, 30 years ago, but still it came back to me.
It still helps.
It still
helps a lot.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely.
Except when you get Darce choked because you go in for a double leg and you don't put your head in the middle of their belly and you're like, oh, I used to put it on the hip all the time and do a double leg or scoop in for a single leg and come up. But now, Chad's like, don't put your head there, or look up to their armpit. Like, thanks. Yeah. I got choked already.
Yeah, someone made a really interesting point to me today, actually. We have a guy who he was here for the open mat cross training. He's a very good wrestler. He's been wrestling for a long time. I was like, how'd you modify your shot? Where do you put your head? And his idea was, he was like, I put it too low on their thigh for them to scoop it up to attack my neck.
To go too down, underneath it.
Yeah, he was like, if you're going to guillotine, Darce, whatever, you need that head up here. If it's below the line of the hip, good luck. They're going to have to scoop it up. And at that point, I'm finishing. I don't know. I haven't fucked with it too much yet. Dude, I'm barely taking shots. I have a theory about learning to wrestle as a jiu-jitsu guy. My thought process is pretty much that I guess it kind of goes back to, I noticed I would see a lot of jiu-jitsu guys who were trying to wrestle and their shots just sucked. And I noticed that there always seemed to be like a lack of commitment to it. And then I was hanging out at Nationals with one of Dante Leon's training partners. And he was a kind of a guard puller who did the gi, then got into leg locks, and then started learning to wrestle. And he's a brown belt, and he's a very good wrestler now. And I was asking him, what was the difference between a good wrestler and like a very good wrestler? Or like, he was like, what makes someone win at wrestling, like there's all sorts of techniques, there's all sorts of attributes, but really it's commitment. It's like guys, when they shoot, they know, they believe that they're not surprised when they get to the leg. They're like, I'm putting you down, motherfucker. And I've been wondering, how do you cultivate that as a jiu-jitsu guy who sucks at wrestling? Because you're going with guys that already can wrestle, you know, and you have a whole skill set where you don't have to do that. So how do you cultivate that? So I'm kind of backwards engineering wrestling right now. So I'm actually starting in win positions. Like I'll have a single leg, I'll have a grip way the fuck up here. And then I'm going to work until I can finish that. And then when I can finish that, I'll start with the leg down here. And once I can get finished from there, cool. Now I'll shoot singles. So I was actually shooting today for the first time ever in like a live sparring. I took some shots today, but I only did it on people who I either A, knew would have no idea that I would shoot.
That you were shooting.
Yeah. Or B, if it was like, dude, if you're, you know, you're 130 pound, you know, teenager, congratulations, you get to be my practice dummy for doubles. Because I don't want to create a feedback loop where I go for shots and I get sprawled on because I shot on someone who's actually tough and I'm not good at it yet. And now I have less commitment when I shoot and I have more hesitancy to pull the trigger. So I'm like engineering my confidence and success in wrestling right now until eventually I'm going to shoot on guys who are actually good and I'm going to run through their goddamn legs because I've cultivated the belief in that very, very intentionally. That's my plan anyway. We'll see if it works.
It's a good plan. No, it's a good plan. You're just breaking down the mechanics of it basically for your own self-awareness because you've never wrestled before. So it's like you're like a new person learning to wrestle. So you're taking the mechanics because you're older. So you're more mature versus, you know, like, hey, I'm a teenager and I'm just going to go at it. Not that we don't want to just go at it.
Even if you drilled, I think even if I went and I took every mechanic of like, say a swing single, right? And I drilled a swing single perfect 1,000 times and I had the mechanics perfect. I don't believe that immediately translates into, okay, now I'm sparring this guy. I'm going to swing single him. Yeah. I just don't believe that. Like, I think what translates to swing singling guys successfully is you hit a single enough times on a couple of guys successfully. And like, most people, the thing is you started off shitty, but you got to do it against some shitty people and you knew you were shitty and you kept going with it. And it kind of naturally happened that you got a belief in it. But there are other guys who didn't. Like, no one talks about the shellers. You know, every gym has a sheller. That's why I get pissed when people are like, if you only just keep showing up, you'll eventually get better. And that's horseshit. Because every gym has that guy who's been there like 8 to 12 years and he's like still a blue belt and like he's just so easy to pass. But damn, he's hard to submit, you know. Right. You'll pass his guard all day, but he's gonna, and you know, he walks away every roll being like, so and so couldn't submit me, you know. And you're like, how did that guy happen, you know? But the way that guy happened is he went for stuff and it didn't work, and he lost confidence in it. And the next time he did it with less explosion, less commitment, and then it didn't work, obviously, because it already wasn't fucking working, and he got into a negative feedback loop. So I think I see that with wrestling more than anything. I know guys who've, you know, been doing some form of wrestling and on the feet, you know, through jiu-jitsu for like, you know, years and years, and they still suck, you know. And then you get a couple of hot-headed young, like, CrossFit dudes come in here, and then, like, all of a sudden, like, 6 months in, that dude's got a damn good double, you know? And it's because he got into a positive feedback loop with it, you know? He believes in that send, you know, and he can send it with confidence and happens to also happen to have the proper mechanics. So I'm just trying to engineer that success, you know?
Sure. Yeah. Chad, and this, both you guys, Jonathan, do you think that is, you know, not just showing up, but repetitive, like not just repetitive, like doing it 1,000 times, or, you know, coming in like that double leg, for instance, like you're doing this double leg and you're doing it all the time. And someone is like, you want to get in that positive feedback. So if you lay off, I'm trying to think how to explain this, or how my brain is trying to engineer it, because that's what I do. That's what I am, Jonathan. I'm an engineer. So
nice.
I'm just sitting here thinking, like, the way you explained it, like doing the double leg, and not the way you explain it for your engineer breakdown, but like a guy coming in, you know, doing this and getting in the positive feedback, or I mean the positive loop versus a negative loop. Is that normal in jiu-jitsu? Would you both say that's normal to get yourself into a negative feedback or a negative loop?
I mean, I think it happens as much as it doesn't. You know, I hate to say it, but like there are guys who train for forever and they never get into too many positive feedback loops. They just get in a habit of losing to some degree or another. I mean, they might have their win positions where they like to go and flee or whatever, but you know, it happens for sure. That's what I'll say. Is it definitely happens. I've never been to a gym where I didn't encounter one person who rolled that way, and some where it's several. And even beyond that, there are parts of the game that everyone despises. Like there's places where people don't want to be and don't feel comfortable. And I think it's because they were intentionally or unintentionally, definitely unintentionally, actually, there were negative feedback loops created there for them or by them.
Okay. Yeah. So there'd be like you would put your mental state would go into a feedback out of a certain position that you didn't have success in.
Now, so maybe you want to stay away from there. So maybe you cling to this place. Maybe you over cling. So you start getting past too much because you're over clinging, you know?
Sure.
Like, I mean, the goal would be to be comfortable in all places and
right.
have positive feedback loops in all of them.
Right. Makes sense. Yeah, that's how Chad's coached me forever too. He's like, just try it. Just keep doing it. Just this. And it's been Chad's.
The hardest, I just talked to somebody, I don't know who it was. I did a private lesson the other day, and you know, I'm big on pocket passing, X pass, leg weave, leg drag, that kind of series. If they do this, we react that way. And the guy I was doing a private with, he's done all these classes with me, but he wasn't getting in the pocket. And I told him, you have to be okay failing, right? You're going to get in the pocket and I'm still going to sweep you. Then you have to get in the pocket again and I'm still going to sweep you. So it's to me, it's that being okay. You have to be okay to fail, right? Because
that's definitely for sure one part of it. If you're too easily dissuaded, you're never going to create skill somewhere. But the other side of that is tapering the resistance. Like I actually legitimately have certain students I say, don't do these on these 5 guys.
Yeah.
Because it's not going to work at all. And I just start with these guys, murder them with it. Then in a month, you're going to do it on these guys.
Sure.
Yes. Yeah, and that's the same thing. You can't go into the match, you know, a roll, not a match, but with the higher rank, like I'm going to pass his guard with this. You know, you have to pick them. It's about those little, it's about those little battles. Like I remember as a white belt, like I didn't come from wrestling, and I was even skinnier than I am now then, right? I think when I started jiu-jitsu, I was 130 pounds. You know, 6'1", 130 pounds isn't pretty, right? So I got a
damn good triangle on it, though.
But I got really good at defense then, you know, not letting people mount me, or, you know what, that guy mounted me 7 times last week. He's only going to mount me 6 times this week, or 5 times, or it's about finding them small goals, I believe, you know, to keep your confidence up.
Sure.
So
totally.
Yeah.
And like when I'm fucking with something that I'm super uncomfortable with, I'll make my goal for the night. Like, I had a long time where I was like, my goal, I think I had like a couple weeks where like my goal was just make myself grab a Kimura. Like that was it. I wasn't like, I will finish a Kimura. It was, I will attempt to grab a Kimura lock. And like, I was failing, but like, because the goal was attempt, I was winning, you know?
Sure.
You got to be humble with those goals sometimes. It's hard.
Sure.
It's hard to like humble yourself down to the point where you're like, I'm not beating, I don't know, let's pick a random Jan. I'm not beating Jan. It's not going to happen, okay?
Sure.
My goal with Jan is I will get an underhook at least once. I will try to get an underhook once on Jan. You know?
Right. Sweet. All right, brother. Well, we've kept you for like more than an hour, and we've...
Oh, it flew by. Well, thanks for chatting.
Yeah, we BS'd and talked about all kinds of stuff, man. Like, it's awesome. Thanks so much, dude, for hanging out with us and
appreciate y'all
chilling and doing all the good stuff, talking jujitsu.
And I hope to be passing through y'all's school at some point, man.
That'd be awesome.
I'm thinking, like, I want to do it in the spring of next year, sometime near my birthday. I want to take the camper out on like a jujitsu road trip.
Nice.
That's my plan.
Do some check some different gyms out. Nice.
Yeah, there's like 2 gyms in Philly I really want to go to, and I also want to go train with Ryan Hall. So my plan would be go up to New York and then down the East Coast back to Charleston and then eventually back up to here. That was my plan, and just stop at a lot of stuff in the way. So you guys will be on the way to New York, so I'll definitely be swinging through.
That'd be cool.
Right on, brother, for sure.
I'm guessing you want to go see Christian Woodsmanzi in Philly.
Yep. Can you guess the other one too?
Philly. Who else would you want to go to in Philly? I'm trying to think who's there.
But yeah, Philly.
Yeah,
Philly and
Jared Weiner, maybe.
I don't know who that is, but I should probably. Fuck.
Yeah.
But no, it was the Bolo brothers, Nick Salas and Danny Meyer.
Oh, okay.
Are they're
in jiu-jitsu?
Oh, they are in Philly. That's right. They are in Philly.
Yeah, dude, they are something else, man. I saw those guys in their brown belt pans run, and I was just so fucking impressed, man. I think the longest anyone lasted with them was like 3 minutes, and the shortest was like 4 seconds.
Man,
they just demolished. They're like having to make a couple adjustments now at like the highest level at black belt, but they're still like they're never getting whooped on. They're always right there.
Yeah.
They're getting slightly outpointed, something like that. So I want to go out there for sure.
Yeah,
Ryan Hall and a couple other places on the East Coast.
Sweet.
But
that'd be cool.
Thanks again for having me, guys.
Yeah, dude.
This coming
Hey,
spring,
man.
probably.
Anyone you want to shout out? Any sponsor? Anything you want to hit at?
PSF, baby.
Yes. All right, brother. Cool.
Gotta go submission fighting.
Yes. All right, Jonathan. We appreciate you, brother. Good luck in everything you're doing. Can't wait to see you. All right.
You too.
All right, my man. Take it
brother.
easy.
Bye-bye.
Hey everyone, we hope you enjoyed the show today. Remember, go out there and check out all our sponsors. That's RollAmongUs.com, BattleBomb.com. At checkout, put in LimitLess20 to get a 20% discount on all products. We appreciate it very much. Not only will you be supporting them, but you'll be supporting the Limitless Radiocast podcast. It helps us come back each and every week, bring content to you guys and everything that you do. We love you guys. We're appreciative of you guys. We thank you for all the support. You guys take care. Come back next